I know that this is, just the start of the show, but one of the questions is, have you discovered anything that's new and exciting here at BlockShow that you think you'll implement in the future businesses?
Yeah, so like you said, we're just getting started with the day, so I haven't had a chance to speak to anybody who's working on a project that's new to me, but it's really great to see just so many people involved and excited in the room, and I've already had a couple people reach out, so I'm looking forward to sitting down later today with some other innovators and some other sort of key creators in the space, looking to see about future partnerships.
Fantastic. All right. And could you just briefly introduce yourself and talk about how you got into blockchain and where you started and how you got from there to whatever you're doing now?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Josh. I work in product and software design and development. I've been working in that space for almost a decade. And I've worked on applications, some large-scale enterprise software, apps for mass market, mostly in Southeast Asia, some in India, and some global stuff. I got into blockchain, I think, a lot of people do. I heard about it from somebody I know. But what really excited me about the space are the implications for what it can do for product, specifically the way that we design products and the way that we design companies. The fact that you can basically build a token or a currency into the design of how a company is going to operate really changes the way that you think about how to really benefit users. So that's something that I found really exciting, and that's why we're working in it.
Cool. Nice. My next question. So what are some things that you've seen that have been done really right lately in the world of crypto and blockchain, or inversely really wrong?
So I think that we're still very much in the early days. So for me, I think it's a little bit early to call things right or wrong. I like to take a slightly longer horizon. And honestly, the things that we see that are going to win aren't even necessarily going to be the ones that are right. But some of the things I've seen that I really like, there's a company, I'm blanking on their name, but they're working on a basically micropayment system for basically for remittances. So for many third world countries in Southeast Asia, the Philippines is a great example. The Philippines has 10% of their GDP comes from remittances. That's basically money coming back from foreign workers. And those remittances cost a tremendous amount of money for people who don't have a lot to start with. So moving that system onto a blockchain, moving that into a decentralized world and getting rid of the fees and getting rid of the weight, I think is something that has real benefit for people who need it.
Actually, I saw your speech a little bit, and I wrote down a question specifically about that.
Sure.
Okay, so you talked a bit about misaligned incentives, and I thought that was just a really interesting topic. Could you talk a little bit about, how we can work to sort of solve that problem going ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a couple of key pieces that are necessary. The first one is to really remove centralized systems. When you have a set of beneficiaries of a system or of a product who aren't the users, you're almost guaranteed to have misaligned incentives. Ultimately, by putting ownership in the hands of people who actually use the product, it does a couple of things. First of all, I think, like I said in the talk, it keeps the value in the system so that the people who use the system get the maximum amount of value for their usage. So rather than extracting a certain percentage of it as profit, that value stays within it. And really what's needed for that is to get rid of these central systems and to tokenize ownership. So once we start seeing decentralized corporations and fully tokenized economies, I think we're going to see a lot more value stay in the hands of users.
So in what sector, it might be with this, but in what sector or industry do you think is in most dire need of blockchain technology?
Sure. So in terms of dire need, I think that the people who are going to benefit most immediately are in third world countries and places where you really can't trust institutions. I'm from the US, and as much as we like to complain about the government and the banks, fundamentally there's a level of trust that you just don't see in other places in the world. People in China have to fight on a daily basis to make sure that the money that they have is kept in the bank. And that is something that I think we'll see a pretty immediate impact. And I think that's why there's so much excitement in these places for blockchain and for decentralized solutions. In terms of what's most ripe, I actually think that the last crop of sort of tech unicorns are really ripe for disruption, just because there's a much more efficient way that benefits users and benefits the value creators in a network to make these products. So I think that these more efficient decentralized solutions are going to outcompete the existing ones pretty quickly.
Cool. And we just have one last question for our users, kind of, I don't know, a way to inspire them. We wanted to think, like, what is a business or an ICO that isn't out, but that you hope comes out in the future, something that might not have been designed, maybe the technology isn't there yet, but something that you hope to see in the future as far as like a business platform?
Yeah, you know, thinking large. I think that you know, maybe that, you know, I've seen a couple of people starting to think about it, but managing public utilities on a blockchain, I think, is something that really should be looked at quickly. So figuring out how to manage electricity. I know that there's places in the world, now that solar cells are so cheap, it's actually possible to create a ton of excess capacity in certain areas. It'd be great to have a blockchain system to manage that, sort of a peer-to-peer electricity swap. Thinking a little smaller, you know, I think that anything that has to do with like the sharing economy would really be the way to look. So anything that the sharing economy can be something like an Airbnb, where there's sort of a, you know, central actor taking a little bit of profit out of help people finding a room to stay in, and there's also the sharing economy, just the content creation. So you know, something like Steemit, or basically a decentralized Facebook or a decentralized Reddit, I think is something that has real value, in the future.
Cool. Awesome.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.